getting the Simian Spirit Guides and using them to cast your ad nauseum. That was the difference. And then you pay for the Lightning Storm off the Brain in a Jar for a single colorless.
Well, that's pretty cool.
It was terrifying, actually.
Well, let's go ahead and go to our match here. It looks like Jeff is having some technical difficulties getting his match started. So we're going to watch Ors MTGO, who is on blue-black control, playing against Pomegrant, who is on Rebels. So this isn't the Rebel Urzatron, Rebellatron deck that you were cooking up with somebody. This is just like a straight-up black-white Rebel deck that I wouldn't say is like a staple of the Pauper format, but definitely is one of those decks that we do see quite a bit when you look at the decks that people are playing in Pauper.
Yeah, I mean, it's an interesting take on it. I think that it's kind of a cool toolbox to it as well, you guys. I mean, I happen to like toolbox decks, don't you, Chris?
I mean, who doesn't?
It just kind of gets there, through incremental advantages.
So now coming into this game, it looks like Ors is kind of far ahead. Pomegranate only has one card left in his hand. Ors has 7 cards in his hand, so there's a pretty big difference there. But he also has quite the mana advantage. And once this blue-black control deck kind of gets ahead of its opponent, it just kind of leans on you until you just kind of run out of steam. There's a lot of card advantage, Soul Manipulation, Mold Drifter, these copies of Exclude, Seagate Oracle. It's just really hard to out-card for card this blue-black control deck. The Rebel deck might have a shot since you can kind of generate virtual card advantage with your Rebels, but there's also just a boatload of removal you have to deal with.
Absolutely. I think this match is going to come down, Chris, to whether or not our plucky little Rebels player Ben here, Pomegrant, is able to stick one of these Rebel tutors, and once he sneaks under that counter magic, should be able to incremental out Ors. But if Ors, as you just said, is able to answer 1-for-1, then we're going to see him take this very easily.
Now, it's not even just a 1-for-1 that we're seeing answered here now. We got a Zombie Fish. Now, 5/5 will make quick work of this Rebel deck. We do have an Errant Doomsayer, so he is able to tap creatures that have toughness 2 or less. Seagate Oracle is a 1/3. Gurmag Angler is a 5/5, so Doomsayer is not really going to be able to do much against that.
Nope. No, it is not. I'm not a huge fan of the Doomsayer. If I was to use a Rebel that taps things down, I would use the black one. The
Trapper.
I'm a fan of the Trapper.
Alright. So Gurmag Angler, Seagate Oracle, they're going to get in for some damage. We're going to see an Echoing Decay is going to take care of that Ramosian Sergeant. We got another bounce land for Ors, so now he has just a huge mana advantage here against Pomegranate. He's going to pass the turn back. There's that Wrathy Trapper you were talking about, so we do have that in the deck.
Excellent.
That could be a potential answer for this Gurmag Angler, but if Ors does have a removal spell for it, Pomegranate's in a world of hurt.
Yeah, I mean, well, okay, so Ors got 5 here, right? So what do you think he's sitting on that he wasn't interested in trading it with the Trapper? Was it another, perhaps, Soul Manipulation he's trying to set up, or the first Soul Manipulation? What do you think, Chris?
Yeah, I mean, I feel like Ors is just probably on an embarrassment of riches right now. Like, he's resolved a Mold Drifter, 2 Seagate Oracles, a Gurmag Angler. Here's the Chainer's Edict, and he does have enough mana to flash back the Chainer's Edict, which I imagine is what we're just going to see here, since there isn't really a permanent that, or anything that Pomegranate can resolve next turn that would make me not want to tap out in Or's position, and Pomegranate's just going to go ahead and scoop it up there. So let's go ahead and take a look at these players' sideboards.
Let's.
So first up, we're going to have Pomegranate. If I can find it. Well, that's not the sideboard.
I mean, I can read it out. I've got this.
Let me find his list for us here. And my pug is just going real angry over there. And here we go.
So we need 2 to
So Pomegranate, he has 2 copies of Avon Riftwatcher, 1 Zealot Vec, 4 copies of Cop Red. Whew. It's getting hot in here. 4 copies of Nightwing Glider, 3 Sunlance, and 1 copy of Lightbringer. So what do you think we're going to see here?
Absolutely the Lightbringer. Other options, I think I like Riftwatcher okay in this matchup, even though it's going to disappear. Ben doesn't have any ways to recur the Riftwatchers, which is sometimes something you see out of these black splash Rebels decks. Yeah, I mean, definitely the Glider as well. So Lightbringer, Glider, easy things to come in, and we may see some more copies of Riftwatcher. What do you think, Chris?
Yeah, I definitely agree with all of that. Let's take a look at Or's list. I have it in here somewhere. I just gotta find it.
Oh no!
There it is.
I'm looking at it myself,
Man,
and I kind of think I know where he's going with this.
Man, this is so weird. All of my preloaded images, for some reason, are just not
working.
loading properly. All right, here we go. So we've got a Doomblade, 3 Duress, 3 Shrivel, 4 Curse of the Bloody Tome, 2 Deep Analysis, and 2 Dispel. What do you think's gonna happen here?
I mean, you got to bring the Doomblade, even though Ben does have some black creatures. Most of his creatures, and the most important ones, in fact, that most of the tutoring creatures are white. So I like the Doomblade. I like the Shrivels. So 3 Shrivels, 1 Doomblade. Other than that, maybe because it's a grind, you could consider the analysis. He shouldn't need to swap over to the curses, right, Chris?
Yeah, I can't imagine that he's going to need the curses here. This is just going to be a pure attrition game, and he's going to win with all of his removal. So players are ready and going here for Game 2. Pomegranate just led on Scoured Bearings up to 21 and passing to Ors, who does have a Radiant Fountain going up to 22. Our mostly Lieutenant is going to threaten getting this Rebel Chain going here in a couple turns from Pomegranate. But I have to imagine Ors does have some kind of removal spell since his deck is just all full of removal spells. For those of you joining us, I'm Chris VanMeter, here with Sean Abrams, Bruce by the Magic Guy. We're bringing you coverage of Week 3 action of the Cardhoarder Stream Pauper Challenge. This is the round 1 for Group B in its 2nd week of play. And Norris is just going to use this swamp and a Disfigure to take care of that Remosi Lieutenant. This is not the game that Pomegranate wants to play if he's going to win this match.
No, not at all, Chris. I agree with you there.
He does have another Remosi Lieutenant, and Orzhov Basilica is going to return the planes back to his hand, which will give him 4 mana for the next turn if he wants to use that Rebel ability to start chaining out creatures. But spoiler alert, Ors had an Edict, and that just takes care of that creature.
Yeah, it really is hard against these black and blue decks for Rebels decks. I mean, I've played this matchup plenty, Chris. I used to jam quite a bit of Pauper League with Rebels, and I usually play it though with the mana base of a Tron deck as well. But if you can just stick that first Rebel tutor, you can win this matchup. But if you can't, you're probably going to lose it.
Yeah. We do have a Nightwing Glider. Has
things get interesting.
Been able to get stuck by Pomegranate. Now, this is going to be immune to all of the straight black removal spells from Ors, and it can chump block something like a Gurmag Angler if it needs to. But there are a lot of Edicts in Ors deck, which kind of get around the protection from black.
Yeah, and I mean, this is a 2/1 flyer we're talking about. Wouldn't also the Shrivel, if that came in, just annihilate this Glider as well?
Yeah, if he did bring in some Shrivels, that's going to be real good. Pomegranate went for an Amorous Scout. Ors was able to get the maximum value out of that Exclude, countering a creature spell, and drawing him a card. Just going to further his game plan of moving this game towards the mid to the late game, where his 2-for-1s are going to be able to take over. Just playing that card advantage game is going to be very, very good for Ors. The other really awesome thing about Pauper is that like the gain lands and lands like Radiant Fountain are just like extremely playable as ways to either fix your mana or just gain life. And in conjunction with the bounce lands from Ravnica, like Ors could just stay alive against this Nightwing Glider for a very long time. It's not like an actual threat.
Yeah, and that's interesting. Like you see, especially the Teachings decks almost accentuate that as well. In fact, I would argue that Ors, his deck is basically Teachings without the Teachings.
Yeah.
They have that gain life mana base you're just talking about. Absolutely, they do. Just bouncing and replaying the game life lands.
So we see that a Journey to Nowhere took care of Gurmag Angler. Nightwing Glider is just going to keep doing what it does best, and that's chip in for 2 points of damage each turn. Oris is just going to keep gaining life off of his lands and continue to make land drops until he has either 7 mana to flashback that Chainer's Edict or another removal spell. Pomegranate is down to just 1 card in hand going into this turn, though, so that's not a good place to be against this attrition-based control value style deck. We get a little action here. Another Nightwing Glider. Let's see if Oris has an answer for it. Maybe he's sitting on that Shrivel. That'd be pretty busted. Just a straight-up counterspell.
Yeah, that would be a pretty excellent play. Yeah, there we go.
Counterspell's going to take care of that.
Pauper's such an interesting format.
Yeah, it really is. Now, in this situation, what do you think has to happen outside of a meteor hitting Orz's house and knocking out his internet for Pomegranate to come back from this spot to try and win this game?
Okay, so other than him being incapacitated, I think that Ben needs to set up a series where he plays multiple. He needs to play multiple Rebel Tutors. Actually, he runs multiple gliders in his list. I didn't notice the main deck one. He has 2 glider in that disc in his graveyard, Chris.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't notice that when we first looked at the list. That's fantastic. The gliders are really neat. Usually these lists, and you can see why, lend themselves more towards the protection from black glider. There's also a red one.
Mm-hmm.
And that is this reason, this matchup, these blue-black controlling decks is why that's the preferred glider.
So in order for Pomegranate to have a shot here, he needs to play multiple Rebel Tutors in the turn and hope to untap with one?
He has to untap with one of them, precisely. And I don't think that he's going to. For a while, my list actually was running some really like weird cards, but just like other creatures that would act as like a really bad Mother of Runes temporarily. And basically you would play that first, then you'd play the Rebel Tutor, and then that creature would actually sacrifice itself to make it so that the Rebel Tutor stuck. Because if you seriously just can stick one of these Rebels that tutor for more Rebels against these blue decks, or even the black control decks, you can win the match. But he's too far behind now.
Yeah, something like a Flag Bearer, maybe?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think it was Flag Bearer. It may have been Flag Bearer. There's also like a 1-drop that's much worse, but serves a similar purpose.
Well, here we got a full-price Gurmag Angler. Pomegranate does have 3 cards in hand. And he hasn't played anything the last couple of turns, so there's a chance that he has some kind of removal spell, maybe a Bound by Silence or another Journey to Nowhere. There's that Bound by Silence.
Yeah.
This is going to go ahead and make it so that Gurmag Angler can't attack or block. It's basically a pacifism, but is considered a Rebel Aura as a tribal enchantment, so you can search it out with your Rebel Searchers. Oris does have just an OG counterspell to take care of it, and at this point he's just going to play Protect the Queen, just keep everything off that 5/5 and end the game in 4 turns.
Yeah.
So Gurmag Angler's going to get in, and this, I was going to say this, Ramosian Sergeant might get to untap, but nope, there is a Shrivel for it.
No, it was very dead.
Seagate Oracle.
You know, Oh, go ahead, Chris.
I was just going to call the Seagate Oracle play coming down, finding a card, got a Defiant Falcon. This might be a turning point if that Defiant Falcon can live through this turn. Oh, it's dead.
Oh, man. He's dead in just a couple turns here, Ben is. Oh, we have a Rift Watcher that buys us some time if it resolves.
Yeah, Rift Watcher will buy us a little bit of time. Precisely 0 turns if it dies here, because it's going to go to 10. Well, a turn. Doomblade's going to take care of it. It's going to go up to 10. He's still dead, and one more attack after this. No cards in hand.
You know, the other time we streamed and talked about Ben's deck, my small criticism about, and that's the game.
Well, Ors is going to take that match 2-0, 2-0 over Pomegranate on Rebels with his blue-black control deck. We are going to pop in here and see if Jeff and Matt